Hello everybody, this is another Hot Wheels Collector video. Today we are looking at the 1970 Chevelle SS. This came from the Fast and Furious 5 pack from 2023, and this casting is actually really old. It comes all the way from 1998 and has not been updated since. This casting actually does hold up to today's standards, however. The only weird thing about it is it does not have any side windows at all. But anyways, let me give you some facts about the real life car before we get into the actual showcase of the Hot Wheels model. So in real life, this car has a 454 cubic inch V8 engine converting to about 7.4 litres. This car also had 450 horsepower. This is obviously the top spec version of the car with an LS6. This car also had 500 pound-feet of torque converting to about 678 newton meters of torque. This car also had a 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds, pretty impressive especially for its age, and also completed the quarter mile in just 14.4 seconds at a top speed of 97 miles per hour. This car also had a total top speed of 130 miles per hour, converting to about 210 kilometers per hour. This car, when new, had a base price of $2,719. The LS6 version, however, cost an extra $263. That doesn't sound like much, but that is $1970, not today's dollars, by the way. Now, if you want to buy one of these cars, it costs anywhere from about $65,000 all the way up until $90,000, and that converts to about £51,600 all the way up into £71,000. When it was new, this car cost a total of $2,982, and now that is equal to $23,500, and that is really not a bad price, especially for what you'd be getting back then. And that converts to about £18,700. But anyways, that's about it for the facts about this car. Now let's get into the actual Hot Wheels model. Alright, so kicking off this showcase, we'll first of all start off with the side profile of this car. And what better to start with than the wheels. So this car is rolling on the Muscle Car 5 spokes from 2010. They are done in a dark grey colour. They do actually look quite nice on this car and are pretty accurate to the Fast and Furious movie car. Of course, they're not identical, but these are pretty close, and obviously Hot Wheels can only use the wheels from their catalogue and really can't model a wheel specifically for this car, as it would cost quite a lot to do. As for the actual colour of the car, this is done in a matte grey, and there was actually a nice story about this car in the actual movie. So this car was originally red in the movie, but Dom actually sands it down all the way to this matte grey kind of metal colour. That's what it's meant to be representing. So that has quite a nice little story behind it. I will mention that this casting does not have any side mirrors, which is unfortunate. As for the actual tamper work on this car, we do have very minimal, which is a downside to this car in my opinion. So we do have the side marker on the rear of the car. We also have the door handles, which have been tampered with in a silver tampo. From some angles, they actually don't look like they are tampo, but when you actually put it into the shade, it quite clearly shows the two different colours, one being matte grey, the actual base colour of the car, and one being that silver tampo which they've put on there. There is also a nice side marker actually at the front of the car as well, just in front of the front wheel. Very nice there. And finally, I will mention this car does not have any side windows, as I've previously said. Kind of looks a bit ugly and funky in my opinion, and doesn't really suit the car, to be entirely honest. I would have rather they had put some windows there. Okay, now let's move on to the front of the car. Sorry about the crack on the front of the car. I literally opened the 5-pack and realised it was there, which was really unfortunate. It's a big, nasty crack down that chrome base plastic, but that does lead us on nicely to the base plastic of this car. So the base plastic of this car, as I've just said, is made from chrome, and that base plastic is used to create the grille as well as the front bumper of this car. I will mention there's no tamper work on the front of this car, unfortunately. However, the headlights have been carved out, so you could add your own details using Sharpie acrylic paints. As for the hood of the car, no tamper work up here either, but we do have two nice hood pins which are actually in the metal casting itself. You can also see a large bulge in the hood of this car, which is actually accurate to the real life car, and is all to do with actually fitting all the engine components under the hood. If the hood was flat, it wouldn't be able to fit everything the car needed, in particular the LS6 high spec model. Anyways, moving on to this side of the car, it is the exact same as the previous side, so I'm not going to bore you with this, but you can obviously pause the video and have a look if you are looking for something specific. If not, let's move on to the rear of the car. Unfortunately, there is no tamper work here. However, the rear bumper, as well as the rear light and exhaust, have all been created using that chrome-based plastic. And yeah, you could obviously add your own details using sharp acrylic paint, once again for the rear lights, as well as the exhaust, etc. And you can also add your own license plate using a permanent sticker. And a final thing I do want to talk about on this car, well, actually a few things. First of all, let's talk about the windshield wipers on this car. Unfortunately, there are actually no windshield wipers on this car, which is a big unfortunate thing. I do quite like it when Hot Wheels add those windshield wipers because it does add an extra level of detail, but it is not something that makes or breaks a car for me personally. And finally, I do want to talk about the top of the car. There is no tamper work here, unfortunately. Kind of stingy from Hot Wheels, only doing the two sides of the car, but we'll have to take what we get. And you can see it's quite nicely casted and modelled there up top. A final thing I do want to mention is the interior of this car is done in black or very dark grey plastic. That is quite nice to see, and it does go nicely with the colour scheme of the car and is accurate to the movie car. But anyways, that is it for the showcase of this car. Now let's get into my final thoughts and review on this thing. Alright, so now it's time for my final thoughts and review on this thing. Disregarding the huge crack at the front of the car, I will completely ignore that, and that will not affect my review and final thoughts on this car. But honestly, this car just has very mixed opinions for me. I think the detailing on this car is very minimal, and that is a shame. They could have easily added some headlight details or some hood details for the hood pins, but they decided to go with neither of those. So that's definitely going to affect my rating. This car also does not have any wing mirrors in the metal casting, which will also affect my rating. And I also am not a huge fan of how those side windows look on this car. I definitely don't think they suit this car at all, but that's just my opinion on this. I do like the colour on this car though. It is nice and matte grey and is accurate to the movie car. So that does lead me on to my score out of 10. When I rate this car out of 10, it's going to be receiving a very unfortunate 6.5 out of 10. It's just not quite there in terms of detail. If they had added some headlight tampos, it could have easily been probably an 8 out of 10. They could have also just added some rear light tampos. Either one of them would definitely have pushed it to an 8 out of 10, but I'm not going to put this car any higher up because, look, I put a lot of cars at 9 out of 10, and this just is not up there with those cars, so I'm going to be brutally honest and say, no, I'm not a big fan of the details on this car. Although it's a very nice casting and the colour's great, it is accurate to the movie car, but again, the details aren't quite there for my liking. But anyways, that is it for this video, so if you guys did enjoy, make sure to like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Remember, you can also press that notification bell so do not miss any new uploads. Remember, you can also share this video with any friends, family, or any groups who may be interested in this video. Remember, don't feel pressured if you don't feel like you have anybody who may be interested. You watching this video all the way to the end means so much to me, and I really do thank you for making it all the way up until this point. Make sure to also comment your opinions on this car. Do you agree with my score? Do you think it should be higher, lower? Let me know in the comments below. But anyways, that is it for this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye everyone.